Rock and roll!
It's Matt from the Nintendo team with the video review of Wario Land Shake It from Nintendo, a 2D platformer that harkens back to those classics of old but retains enough new to keep us all interested. Yeah, I gotta warn you, I'm probably gonna be saying Wario randomly throughout this review just because it's a whole lot of fun for me and, simple pleasures.
Yeah!
But let's get to the game itself. Like I said, this is a 2D platformer, so if you hate the third dimension or just, can't stand all this newfangled 3D technology, you'll be happy to know there's not a polygon to be found here. This is beautiful, hand-drawn animation, and it looks stunning. Wario! You're going to see some of that stunning animation from the get-go in a beautiful hand-drawn cinema that opens the game and tells the storyline to follow. And really, it's a flimsy, fluffy storyline typical of Nintendo's products. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but it powers the platforming to come. The Shake dimension has been invaded by the Shake King, and he's stolen away with the Queen and the bottomless coin sack. Now, Wario himself doesn't care much about the Queen, but he is very, very intrigued by that bottomless coin sack, always out for treasure, and so he joins the quest to get that. That crazy Wario. Wario. Obviously, this is not a game about storylines, it's a game about sweet old-school platforming, and that is in plentiful supply. There's a great variety of levels. First of all, you've got 5 worlds, each with several levels, and they all have different themes. So you've got everything from an ice world to a lava world. You've got forests and jungles, you've got themed stuff like westerns, and you've got sky levels, and you even have really cool like underwater submarine levels, and it's all really nicely done. Very, very varied in design, and topping that all off, you've got a variety of boss fights, some of which start out a bit easy, but as you get to the 3rd or 4th boss, it's going to ramp up considerably. One concern you might have is that the game is seemingly a bit short. Like I said, 5 worlds with several levels apiece. You can probably bust through the adventure in about 5 hours, maybe even less, but that will get you to the sort of quote-unquote end. Doesn't mean you've really completed the game. And that's because you can come back to any of the stages at any time, and there are secondary missions to partake in. And I think these really separate the men from the boys in the same way collecting 120 stars in Galaxy did. You'll have to do everything from collecting a certain amount of coins, to jumping on the tops of enemies' heads consecutively, to finishing a level without being hit, or even in some underwater levels without breaking your submarine. So if you're a true completionist, you're going to get a lot more replay value out of this game than you would if you're just trying to get to the end. In fact, I'd be shocked if you didn't double your playtime. Wario. So the game's got good variety, but it's also got amazing controls, and by that I mean really intuitive and uncomplicated, but also very tight, very responsive. Seriously, 5 minutes with it, you're going to remember why you loved playing so many of those old school platformers growing up. Simply put, it's just a whole lot of fun. What I really like about this game is that it is refreshingly linear, and it makes no excuses about it. Beyond the Wii Remote Shake feature, you just waggle your controller for a special move. There are no gimmicks. No crazy unnecessary bullet time, and no wide open world where you can go anywhere. And I think what this really affords Nintendo to do is create very specialized, very well designed, very clever, albeit admittedly very straightforward stages. There's more depth to these stages than initially meets the eye too, because you do get to the end and you have to turn around and run back to a countdown timer. And as you're doing that, you're going to discover new routes and new hidden treasure that you can only get on your way back. So it really feels like a Nintendo title in that it really kind of feels initially simple, but the more you play it, the more you get beyond that first glance and find all that hidden depth. Of course, that being noted, it's not a perfect platformer. Like I said, it is very straightforward, and in many ways it feels like this has all been done before, probably because it has. It's not a very innovative game, but it is at least a very polished one. Well, mostly polished. You may have noticed here on the left and right sides that the title's not really running in full, true widescreen. Instead, you're going to see some icons on the left and right sidebars, but all the gameplay is preserved and constrained to a 4x3 mode. Yeah, the snob in me, I've been nitpicking this one for a while, and I continue to nitpick it because I think Nintendo sets a precedent for third parties, and when its own games don't run in true widescreen, well, it's not setting a very good precedent. Alright, so even with the game running in crap-o-vision, I can't ignore that it's some beautiful, truly gorgeous hand-drawn animation. More importantly, though, this is a truly fun, absolutely engaging 2D platformer that harkens back, like I keep saying, to those old days. And I think if you grew up with games like this, you're going to love this one too. For our full written review, check out IGN.com. Or you can also check out Wario.